Dímelo, mi gente. What up? It's your boy Gus from Gus Villa Jewelry. I am back with season 2, episode. I don't remember what the hell the episode number was. I'm pretty sure it's 5, right? Is it 4? It's all right. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, today we got an awesome guest. I promised you guys that I would do more jewelry people on my podcast. That is a false promise because I've only had one more other person who was in the jewelry industry. But today I got a titan in the Cuban Link Miami space. He's one of my very good boys down here in downtown Miami. I can genuinely say he's one of the better people that I deal with on a constant basis. He is the owner of GoldZenn. Julio, welcome to the podcast. God damn it. Dude, can you clap in the back for once? Can we do it again? Julio, welcome to the podcast. Christ almighty, dog. It's the minimal effort,
too early,
dog.
Man. Too early for him.
Dime, Julio, how are you, dog?
Good.
¿Qué hola?
How are you? I'm excited.
You're not excited because you've been avoiding my podcast like the plague, my
I
friend.
have not. You're wrong. How?
All right, look, guys, for those that don't know, I've been hounding. Hounding would be a nice word. I've been stalking and trying to assemble this podcast with you for the better part of 3 months.
2 months.
3 months. 3 months. Okay. And you've rescheduled 6 times.
No, 2 times.
6 times. You've told me you were going to do it, and then you got to wait for this, and then you got to wait for that, and now your store looks beautiful, so now you had literally no excuse, and you were about to sell me out yesterday. Whatever, we're not going to talk about it. You sold me out, pero bueno. Anyway, the point is you're here on the podcast, so thank you for coming out and spending some time with us, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
I start off all these podcasts for the exact same way because this jewelry world is inspirational to a lot of people, and a lot of people constantly hit me up. I think one of the most consistent questions that I always get in every single podcast that I ever do is, bro, how did you get started in this jewelry business? I want to do it. I'm sure you get asked via DM, oye, I'm in fucking Turkey. I want to start a jewelry business. Like, can you help me? Give me some tips. I get it all the time. I don't know why. So I want to know, everybody has their very interesting story on how they get to where they're at now. I have mine. You know a bunch of jewelers, as we all do, that have theirs. So I want you to talk to me about when you first started, how'd you get into this business, and how'd you get to the point where you're at right now? It's a super loaded question, so take your time.
I know.
And it's a hard one.
I realize that you and I come from very similar backgrounds in marketing in general. Back when the pandemic hit, I was home. I was coming out of a period of my life of craziness, let's just say that, until my bank account went like, and then I just hit emergency brake, and then, when that happens, it's like you kick into gear right away.
Yeah.
It's so incredible. You kick into gear right away. And it happens like every single time you have standards, and every single time you go under your standards, it's like you go back up to your standards. It's an automatic system. So I'm in Tampa. I was living in Tampa at the time. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do a marketing agency. And I started talking to this guy that he's starting a jewelry store. He hasn't opened up the shop yet. And he makes Cuban links and things like that. And I was like, okay, I'll make you a website and I'll work with you. So I started making his website. And then after that, we started talking about business and stuff like that. And I said, okay, look, I'll run your shop.
What did he have? What kind of business was it?
It was a jewelry shop, a jewelry store.
Oh, right. Okay.
He had the workshop behind the store. And then he had like a very little bitty store like set up in the front. We're talking inventory, maybe 100,000, very small inventory compared to what everybody else has.
Yeah.
I know. And then, so nothing. I talked to him and he said, all right, when you coming down? And I said, I'll be down next weekend. And this happened basically within like 2-3 days.
And what would you help him do? Just like the marketing, the pictures, or what?
Oh, I did everything. So I started running videos, marketings, video, Facebook ads. Not YouTube and Google because the store wasn't really set up for that, and plus, like most of the traffic for jewelry stores will come from social media in general. I'm pretty sure you've seen it on your business. So I start working with him. I learned a lot of stuff because he had the workshop like right then and there, and I just learned how the Cuban links were made, what sort of quality you were looking for, like when you make a Cuban link. Custom pieces and stuff like that. Those I learned later on. Wasn't really like right then and there, but like little by little you start learning and start grasping. And like I've always been smart, so I sort of learned like, quick.
What point did you realize that like what you were doing was more valuable and you wanted to start your own thing? Because I had a similar situation to what I did. And I think that I never knew you started that way. This is the first time I'm finding out right now, and that's almost identical to how I started.
I know.
Yeah, that's so.
How did you start? I want to hear your story because
it was just like that. I wanted to rock a Cuban link chain, but I was working at a call center at American Express, and I had on the side a media company that I run it with our boy Creep right here. That's off camera, and so we were just running around like building a book of business, but then. He had his daughter, so he left, and then it was just me, like an idiot. And I started quickly realizing that I'm not that good of a camera guy, and that I suck at it. And then so I was like, okay, let me just continue doing this and see how far I can push it, but this time by myself. But I wanted a Cuban link chain, and I was like, damn, dog, I don't really know where to buy. So I started Googling them, and I found this page of the company that I had before, and I called them up, and I was like, yo, dog, nobody answered, so I went on their website, and the website was super shady. And I built websites, and I cut that. And I'm like, oh my god, like,
is this Gold Fever?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Like I'm gonna get my credit card started. So like I'm just gonna grab my Amex. I'm gonna read a rosary and pray to God, and then just put my credit card information. And if it gets stolen,
really,
bala pinga. Like what am I gonna do? I got my money stolen. And then the owner at the time calls me as I'm driving home, and he's like, yo, though, thank you for your purchase. And I appreciate it. And I was like, bro, like, honestly, I thought that, this was a scam, like, honestly. And then he was just like, nah, bro, like, I make chains, and I'm going to make you your 10-carat chain or whatever, which is this chain here that I wear. I wear every day. I never take it off.
Oh, that's
for that
the same
reason.
chain?
Same chain. Yeah. And so I went, and he was just like, started talking. And then I was just like, bro, listen, your website is garbage. My bad. I thought it was, And then long story short, he tells me, no, bro, I can go show you the inventory that I have now. I live in Hialeah. Where do you live? And I'm like, bro, I live in Hialeah, He's like, what street do you live on? He tells me the street, and I'm like, Papo, I live 2 streets down from you.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So he just came to my house, and we just kicked it all night, and I kept telling him, like, about what I do, and then he told me about what he do. Point is, for whatever reason, I have no idea why, I just decided to help him for free. And then the partnership grew in the sense where I was just going over to the shop and just taking pictures. At the time, we were outsourcing our pieces. We weren't even making them ourselves. And then one thing led to another, and we sat down, and I was like, bro, I'm dedicating a lot more time, and I'm doing this for free. So let's just start a partnership. I'll do all the marketing. You teach me how to make chains. And that's how we started it, in the backyard in Hialeah. And he would make the chains. I would come out, and I would take pictures of him making chains. And then we had one employee, which you know him. And that was the one guy. And we didn't have any money to pay for him. So we paid him $60, and he would work 12 hours.
Gosh.
It was rough. But that's how you start, though. That's how you start.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. So eventually we got a shop, and we got to build this whole company or whatever. But at some point, I realized that what I was doing was very valuable, and I could do this anywhere. I mean, I knew I could do that because ultimately you have a marketing business, same thing that you did. But I decided to say, hey, listen, I want to have my own vision. I had my own goals. I had my everything. And that just didn't match with who I was. And that's a big step, right? So, like, for me, at least it wasn't something that I just woke up one day and was just like, all right, I'm going to sell half my company. Like, nah, like I worked hard. It was 2.5 years of like grinding with a certain person and a certain crew. And you have like all these goals, right? And then all of a sudden you start realizing like, nah, man, I could do this by myself because I have my own set of goals and everything. But at the same time, you have loyalty to these people that you've been working for. So to me, it was a really, really big decision for me to leave and then start something that nobody had a clue who I was. They knew who I was, but I was like Gus from Gold Fever Miami. I was never Gus from Gus for the Jewelry. That shit didn't exist, you know? So I'm curious to find out, how was that journey with you? If you're helping this dude, and then you realize, hold up, bro, I can do this myself. And like, isn't that that's kind of a selfish feeling in a way, but you have to do it.
It is. It's a big step, especially on the entrepreneurship journal. I told him like something that I skipped. I also worked for free with him for a minute. I told him, I'm like, look, give me a month. Let's put it together for a month. If within a month we don't hit, I don't know, 100, 200,000 in sales, like, that's it.
No harm,
like,
no foul.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
it.
Yeah. Mhm.
So after 2 weeks, I'm like, listen, you start paying me now, okay?
Yeah, because you started seeing results.
Yes, absolutely. Almost right away. I'm like,
Yeah.
you start paying me now because you got a lot of people coming in. So
Yeah.
let's make this happen right now. So, but I mean, the month hit, like 30 days hit, and I was like, I knew I wasn't gonna stay there long.
Oh, really? You
Because
knew already.
I knew already I wasn't gonna stay there long. I didn't have much money saved, but his attitude was not the best. And right now he's still in the same place with the same little bitty shop. Has not gone anywhere, and it's been like 3, 4, 5 years now. So and then after
Did it
that,
end in like an ugly way? Like you
In
guys
an
still
ugly way.
chill? Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. No, mine's didn't.
in an ugly way.
Yeah.
So we just bump heads a lot. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then after that, when I come out of there, I was actually very impressed because when I come out of there, let's just say I was in a cave. Let's just say that for a second. And then I come here, I started talking to different people in downtown. I started getting to know different people. And people
What do you
knew
mean by
me.
you're in a cave? Like you thought like you were secluded in the jewelry world, or like?
I was just in that shop. That's it. Like
Right,
I didn't
right.
know anybody else. I was not networking. I was just like working there hard as hell.
Yeah.
12, 15, 16 hours. I've always been a hard worker. I got used to working long hours very early on. So I don't mind working long hours. I still work long hours.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do get like, I don't want
Right.
to wake up, but it's like,
Yeah.
come on, let's go. And then like the next week it's over, and then I just keep working 15, 16 hours a day. And then nothing. I just realized that I wasn't going to stay there long. The guy's mentality was not matching where I was trying to take the company. And then I was like, okay, when I come out of the jewelry world, the jewelry shop, that store, people knew me. And I was surprised. I'm like,
They knew you because you were doing marketing for them, or they just knew you because?
he put in the word for me in the sense of like, oh, I have a guy that I don't know exactly his words, but this is what I'm imagining, because being that sort of person, the way that person is, he was not going to be like, oh, I have a guy that's the best or something. He might maybe will say, hey, I have a guy that's doing this for me, and that's it. But based on the results and the millions of views that each video got, people were like, gosh, like who the is this guy? You know? So
I think I know who you're talking about too.
Yeah.
And I mean, it goes like you could see the difference. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to find out that like this guy's Instagram sucks, and then all of a sudden it's great. And then you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden he's like, oh, hold on, this guy's fucking Harry Winston. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. But yeah, go ahead.
So I mean, after that, I went to another guy that same thing, a boy, Unique.
Oh my
Unique.
god,
He wasn't.
that's funny. Oh, that's right. That's right. You did work with him.
Yeah, I worked
He's a
with
local
Unique for a
jeweler,
little
by the
bit.
way.
Yeah.
Shout out to Unique Jewelry.
He
And how was
wasn't-
that?
His shop wasn't set up. Like, I mean, everything was set up. He was just like, oh, I have to paint this little corner right here. I have to do this. I'm like, bro, stop. Let's open this up like now. Let's go.
But why
Like,
didn't you want to go by yourself yet? Why did you go help somebody else?
I didn't
to
have
do
the
it?
funds yet.
Oh, right.
I needed more funds. So because let's just be realistic, in the jewelry industry with like, I don't know, 100K, it's like you don't do anything with 100K.
No.
Like, I've gotten friends that they'll tell me, hey, what can we do? I have 100K, I have 150K. I'm like, bro, we can't really do much with 100K in the jewelry business. You buy freaking 100,000 and like, it's like, I don't know, like this, you can hold it right here.
Sometimes you buy $100,000 watch and it's just a watch.
It's just a watch. That's it. Like that. Is that
One
all you, the
stupid
inventory
little
you
watch.
have? Yeah, exactly. So
This is me. It's all my business.
I needed more funds, and at the time I only had like 10 grand when I started actually advertising GoldZenn, And the website was like crappy, bro. It was like the website had a dark background. I know, a website with a dark background with a black background. I know.
Come on, dog. You know what's funny? Go for Your Mammy had a dark background, and I was like, Pablo, how are you gonna sell jewelry with a black background? What is this, like MySpace at night, 2003?
You know, I saw a documentary that they made on you guys for, I think it was business.com or something like that.
Business Insider.
A Business Insider.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. My 2 seconds of fame.
I,
When I thought I would walk around and people would like ask me for autographs. That never happened.
really? No, that never happened. And they said you guys were doing $200,000 in sales, and I was like, gosh, like it'll be incredible for me to be doing $200,000 in sales a month. And now it's like we're doing it. It's like,
It's not that not that crazy.
It's not that crazy. So,
but to be fair, like it's only because of the industry that we're in. It's not because like people think that like, oh man, I would love to do $200,000 in sales, and that's not that crazy. But because the price tickets of what we sell are also really, really high up there.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
How was it starting off? First off, I'm not going to say it. Where the F does the name come from? What the hell's GoldZenn? That's like the fucking weirdest thing ever. Usually everyone's egotistical and just puts their name jewelry.
I know. I saw all these
Julio
brands.
Jewelry.
I know. It's like I saw all these brands. Pedro Jewelry. I don't know. Ariel Jewelry.
Yeah.
Why is
go
everybody...
the ego route, baby. Let's go.
I know. It's like, why are all these people just like their name jewelry? Their name jewelry. I'm like,
there's no thought behind it. No thought. No creativity.
It up a little bit. So, I mean, if you actually think about it, like the big brands, they're not called like that.
There are a lot. They are though. Tiffany.
I know.
Harry Winston.
Yeah, but
those are big ones.
But I mean, those are guys that have been there for freaking years.
Right.
They have a head start of 100 years, bro.
Bueno, when you see me on Fifth Avenue, GoldZenn Jewelry.
They have a head start of 100 years. You can't compare with them. But like, I mean, like the actual names that are thought through and everything. It's like, look at Jackson. Jackson. It's like, it's not Jackson Jewelry or I don't know, Henry Jewelry or so anything like that. Look at K Jewelers, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
Jared's.
Jared's
is also
that's all part of this big company. I forgot the name of it. That it's all
Swatch.
part of one.
They own a lot of them. I don't know if they own
Signet Jewelers.
Yeah, I don't know if they own the local ones, which would be like that, like Jared and stuff like that. But yeah, they're usually part of a bigger company that helps them do all the marketing and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I mean, they have experts in branding, and all of these guys, they just actually think about what are they going to create.
People that are much smarter than us.
I know. Way much smarter than us.
1,000%. But where the hell did GoldZenn come from? Where'd you come with that name?
So I started looking at a name, and then I was like, started just populating names, and just going through name generators, and then GoldZenn pops in, and I'm like, okay, this is something more like me,
right?
Like gold, and then Zen as an internal piece in general. So I was like, okay, let's rock with that.
Yeah, this is it. I remember, I'm going to tell you a story of the first time I ever met you. I had no idea who you were. And the thing about in downtown, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is just the way I feel. In downtown Miami, we live in a jewelry district or we work in a jewelry district where there is a lot, just like probably anywhere else. But I think that when you live in a major corporation, so for instance, let's say, for instance, you work at a call center. Everyone works for where I used to work at American Express. So you are an American Express employee. Yes, there's a bunch of politics that go on there, but ultimately everyone's on the same team, right? We work in a jewelry district that's 4 blocks, and it's a bunch of jewelers running their own businesses with their own trades, right? And so in this industry, I've learned doing this for however long I've been doing it, I realized that there's a lot of politics that go on and a lot of bullshit that goes on, and there's a lot of people that don't have genuine intentions. And then I think that's in anything, but when it comes to a situation where you own your own business and I own my own business, it's even more intensified because you're not all under that umbrella of, say, working in a call center and we all work for American Express. So you get like all this like this backstabbing and like weird deals that go on. I mean, I'm sure you know that shit more than we do. And so the first time I met you, we walked into a place and you sat down there and I didn't know who you were. And you were like, hey man, like I don't remember you told me something along the lines of like, hey, you have to help me do something. And I was like, man, like, I don't really know you for you to be asking me that. And I was just like, oh, yeah, cool. Like, you know, whatever, keep it alive. And we just kept it moving. And then for like the next 3 or 4 times that I met you, I was just like, oh, what's up? Keep it cool. You know, like we do a lot of people. But I was just like, I don't really know if he is like one of us. And by one of us, I mean, we work with a certain crew of people that we have full trust in, because there's a lot of people that you just can't trust, right?
Correct.
And so I remember telling one of our good friends, Mario, and I told him, bro, who's that kid that comes in here? And he's like, he has a brand, GoldZenn. I've never heard of GoldZenn. I have no idea what any of this is. And he's like, nah, that guy's cool, man. Like, he gets it. Like, he's he's trustworthy. And then from then, it was like a switch that turned off. I didn't care anymore. You know what I mean? It was just a matter of like, okay, now I just want to get to know him because I know that he comes from like a good place, right? So do you feel that way? And that's the first time, that's my long-winded story about how I met you. Do you feel that way about the industry that we're in? Because it's something that I think some people talk about it, some people don't talk about it, but I'm a big advocate about letting people know that like the jewelry business ain't all about popping bottles and flashing a bunch of things and saying that we're the best, because that's what people perceive this industry to be like.
I don't know. That was the perception that they had.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
I mean, I'm a whole different individual in that sense, bro. Once again, I work 12 to 15 hours every day.
Yeah.
So even on Sundays, it's like the only time when I don't work is like when I go party like hard once every like 3 or 4 months. It's like the next day, I don't even want to wake up.
Been there, papa.
I know. So in the jewelry industry, I realized that everything was kept behind gates all the time. So have I found people that we can actually like, share contacts with and stuff like that? Yes.
Yeah.
Like this very small,
Very few. Everyone gatekeeps.
minuscule amount. Correct. So everyone gatekeeps. I mean, you have to gatekeep some stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, if there's something that's gonna help you out, bro, it's like here.
Yeah.
Even if you're a competitor in the same space, here. Why? Because that's gonna make me better. It's gonna make you better. It's gonna make me better. This is how it goes. If you're up here, it's like, okay, how do I get up here?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you lift me up. Same thing. If you like here in the same level, it's like, oh, I'm better than you, and you're gonna be like, oh no, I'm better than him, and then it's like, you both are gonna be lifting up that every single day. When I used to live with a lot of men in barracks, because I went to the Marines before, right after high school. Like, bro, I was on my best when I was living with men. It was like, let's go, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Fucking David Goggins type of style, you know? It's like, let's go, motherfucker. And I wasn't going to let my guard down.
Yeah.
No. Otherwise, it's like being in prison, bro. Like, go to prison, okay? And be like, oh, no.
Let's work as a team.
Yeah, let's work as a team. All right. I mean, you could be with a freaking gang for sure.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like you create your own team. But it's like, bro, like step it up because they're going to run all over you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think the jewelry industry to a certain extent is like that. You know, I have a different approach to most of it because like I know that there are people that gatekeep, like big time people that don't share any sort of like even want to break bread with you in the sense of like do business with you because you're an outsider or you haven't paid your dues. And let's be honest, you and I are the new kids on the block. Like we're young, we are starting our own businesses. We're going up against people that have, you know, been in the industry 20, 30 years.
Yep.
Old school Titan heads out here in the Miami world who are like, nah, bro, like you youngins, like get out of here, you know? And we're all here like on social media, on YouTube, haciendo podcast, like a bunch of losers, according to them, you know? But they're of that old school. And yeah, they do gatekeep, bro. And that's a biggest thing. And I think that mentality that you have when it comes to shit like that is the reason why I gravitate towards you and people like that. Because I feel like there's so many people, bro, the other day we sat there on the phone when you called me at the crib.
Yeah.
And we sat there and we spoke about business revenues.
correct.
You can't do that with I could do that with maybe 3 people. Outside of that, no one does that because no one wants to do that. And no one wants to make themselves better by doing that because it's always like a competition. And I don't see it that way, bro. Like, it's exactly what you say. Your work ethic, sometimes I get lazy. You know what I mean? And sometimes I just want to chill. But then I'm like, what the is Julio doing? I bet you that motherfucker's working. You know what I mean? I bet he's doing something crazy, dog. And I'm like, oh, no, you know what, dog? Let me put my shoes on and go back to work and do something else because I know he's going to be there. And you want to be at that top level all the time, you know?
Absolutely.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that competition even around here in this 4 blocks that we have that we work constantly?
I do. I mean, it's competition, regardless how you want to name it, however you want to see it. It's competition because they're in the same industry that we are.
Yeah.
Different audiences, yes, but it's competition all day long.
Yeah.
That out there is the battlefield. So, and there's blood on the floor all the time.
1,000%. That's 1,000%.
You know, and it's a motivator.
Yeah.
Because they have, I don't know, millions of dollars worth of inventory. And I don't. So I'm going for what you have.
Yeah.
Let's go after it.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, and now it's like I have access to social media, which gives me access to millions of people. And I'm young. So I now study my race.
Yeah. What do you feel are like some of the things? Let me preface this because I'm going to sound like a total douchebag for what I'm about to say. There is things that I hate about this jewelry world, and I, you know, sometimes I talk about them. You know, what are, like, for instance, I get people like customers. I love every single one of the customers that I have. Don't let me start sounding like I'm an ungrateful little bitch because I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to say.
What's your question, please?
I'm going to tiptoe around this question because what I really want to ask you, I can't say it. But what do you feel sometimes is something that you don't necessarily like about being a jeweler? Maybe it could be customers, certain things. I'll give you a pet peeve of mine that's so stupid, but it's the truth. I hate when people ask me on comments or whatever the hell, how much? I hate that. I don't understand why.
How much?
Like, how much?
What?
Like, exactly. Right. That's exactly what it is. I spent so much bread on a fucking website that you're not seeing, number one. I spent so much time telling you, hey, call me on my website, call me, telephone numbers, blah, 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 blah. And people still go on there and I post something and they say, how much? So that's my annoying one thing. I could name 1,000 of other ones, but what's annoying to you? What's
a US scam?
Oh, are you a scam?
Are you a scam? Are you scamming people? Is this for real?
Are you a
Like,
scam?
bro.
Is the worst.
Have you seen the size of my website? I mean, by no means it's a big website compared to
Right.
all the people.
Right.
But it's not small. It's been hours that we put into it. Hours that we keep putting into it.
Product shots.
Product shots.
The Instagram. That'd be tremendo scam,
Bro,
Pablo.
in order to set that up, okay, so think about it. Think about each video as an hour video, okay? Just as an hour video. Don't think of it as because some videos, they take days. Sometimes some videos that take 1 to 2 days just of full editing, like no recording. Think of it like an hour video and think, I don't know, put each picture as a 30-minute and then just do the math on whatever we have on social media, on whatever we have on the website.
Yeah.
How much labor is that?
It's insane. And then they still ask you, is it a scam?
And then they still ask you. I mean, we now set up a phone system, and I think you should set it up too. A phone system that it's actually, I don't know exactly how it's called, but you call it, and then you could click 1 for sales, click 2 for help, and then it's so much help.
Yeah.
Way better than just having like 1 or 2 phones
Really?
like ringing all day long for the same purpose.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
See, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, you call, and I got my boy Jay. People who watch this podcast, they know who Jay is. And Pobre, the poor guy, has to sit there and deal with that.
With everything.
Sales calls, customer service, and there's no
real system set up.
No real system set up.
Yeah, bro.
But it's the part of the growing pains. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, people come out there, they see you in a Facebook ad, and they see you like super polished with your stupid little white gloves that I hate so much, and you're out there talking a house.
Why are
and
you
shit.
hating on my white gloves, bro?
You're so stupid. I hate when people put white gloves on look at me with my white butler gloves. Like, get out of here, bro. These are ridiculous. Anyway,
Why
with
you
that,
hating?
and they think that you're this super polished, company. But at the end of the day, you're growing just like everybody else is. You know what I mean? And so, like, we get a lot of people that are also in the situation where you were in Tampa, where you didn't have bread. You had party your ass off. And there are a lot of people that are going through struggles right now trying to build a business, whatever it is. Do you have something that you can possibly tell people that is real, that has helped you, that can give some genuine advice for someone who wants to start a GoldZenn in Nebraska? Doesn't even have to be jewelry, just in general.
Work, bro.
Yeah.
Work and focus. If you don't focus, that's it. Like, nothing else matters. Okay? For me, GoldZenn is my priority. That's it. Like, nothing else matters. The parties don't matter. Sometimes, every now and then, I do get distracted just like everybody else. But
Yes,
then
you
I'm
do.
like,
Yes, you do.
yeah, you do too, motherfucker. Shut up. You do too. You get more distracted than I do. Shut up.
All right, I digress. Dog.
Flying all over the world, guy. You've visited more countries in the past 6 months than I have ever visited in my lifetime.
Oh, my God, dog. Oh, my goodness, dog. I didn't know I had Judge Judy next to me, dog. Jesus Christ, dog.
You started it.
All right, dog, go ahead.
So, I mean, just work, focus, and every time you have to put your standard higher than what it is. It's like right now you're accepting yourself as this, like put it higher. And every time you're going to go back down, it's like, no. This is not who I want to be. I want to be this guy, okay? And this guy doesn't do this type of habits. This guy doesn't do these types of things. This guy does these types of things, okay? So that's how I changed myself because, bro, let's be honest, I spent 2 years with no work at all. Just 2 years of straight living life. That's it.
You weren't working?
I was not working.
Really?
Yeah. I had a little bit of money saved up from Bitcoin. And after that, I was like, okay.
2 years.
Rent is paid. I'm taken care of. Let's go work out, eat, and sleep. Oh. And that's it until bank account hit. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, emergency brake.
And what do you think is that drive? Like what? Because I mean, there's a lot of people, bro, that I think, to what you're saying is like that work ethic is really isn't there. They're not willing to put in that work, And so, but it's hard, bro, because sometimes like I've never been that guy who doesn't work. I've never taken 2 years off and I did technically, but I still worked during those 2 years. And so there are a lot of people out there who are probably maybe going through something like that. And so what the hell drives working 12 to 15 hours a day? That's crazy. I understand it, but maybe somebody doesn't.
It may sound crazy. I don't think it's that crazy, to be honest. It's very normal for me. It became my new normal. Let's just say for people that work 8-hour shift. Okay, now you work an 8-hour shift with a company that doesn't belong to you or whatever. But how about we start working 12 hours, 4 more hours, 50% more, okay? But towards the thing that you actually want to do. You have to change your mentality because this is your standard right now, 8 hours, and then that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
How about we start working 12 hours? Before, back in the days, people used to work 12 freaking hours.
Yeah. There's an interesting documentary in China it's called The Company or something like that. I don't remember what it was called. It's on Netflix or Hulu or one of these things. It's basically 2 companies. This one dude who does like these glasses or whatever, he does like plexiglass. Mm-hmm. And in China, the people that work in his company, he's become a billionaire. And the people like wake up in the morning in China and they like all go to work and they don't ever have a day off. They have like 1 day off in like the whole entire year or like a 1 week off or something like that. One employee gets 1 week off. It's something so ridiculous. And then the guy was a billionaire, so he brought his company and he brought it over to like, I think Detroit. I don't know. I saw this shit like years ago. Brought it to the U.S. And then here, like, the work ethic was completely different. Like people just wanted to work 8 hours. People wanted to like unionize, and he had to like hire people to like stop the union from happening. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy, and it's it's the work ethic. And I'm like, bro, like listen, if I'm out here working 8 hours and there's someone in China working 15 hours on the reggie, fool. Like, that's just their regular shift. That's not extra. They're not getting paid overtime. That's just their regular shifts. Like, how can you not work that much? It's crazy to me.
Yeah. Read a lot of books too, bro.
Yeah.
Read. For people that don't read. I know people in the jewelry industry, they don't read a lot. Like, read about business, read about mindset, read about anything. Whatever you could get your hands on, read. And books are so cheap right now. 10, $15, bro. To the access of, in the amount of knowledge, that's just going to compound later on in life, within 5 years, within 3 years. If you read 3 books, okay, for the next 3 years, I think whoever, I'm not sure who said this. I think it was Patrick from David. I think that's exactly his name. He said it, bro. Like, gave a list of like 6 books or something like that. Read them for the next 2 years. If you don't change, if your income doesn't change, he's like, come back, I'll give you the money back. You'll never come back.
Yeah.
You'll never come back.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of people, man. Like I said, even in our own jewelry district, like that they're just stuck in their own ways and they're never gonna evolve. Even like, bro, social media, fool. Like, social media is so incredibly difficult for someone in an older age to not only understand, because let's just say they don't understand it, right? Like, nah, that Instagram stuff, that's not for me, dog. Okay, cool. But they're not even willing to incorporate it or understand the importance of it. You know what I mean? And I think that right now, specifically in any industry, if you aren't pumping out insane amount of content on social media, Babo, you're not doing nothing, bro.
No.
How much time do you dedicate to social media?
Way too much.
Yeah.
At least like 2-3 hours a day. I'm dedicating just to upload stuff, a lot of stories, a lot of. I now started uploading more reels since you told me. Yeah,
I told you about those reels.
But I also dedicate a lot of time. I mean, I have someone taking care of my ads and stuff like that. I taught that person the way I run ads and stuff like that. So she's just like a mini me, pretty much running ads. And then I don't dedicate a whole lot to that. But before, bro, when I do my copywriting, it all depends on the day. When I do my copywriting and stuff like that, I spend hours doing copywriting. Sometimes I spend a whole day. I close the door on my office and I don't want to get bothered. I just want to focus on my copywriting. I come out to the restroom, I come right back, focus on my copywriting. What exactly am I going to say? What am I promoting? What's the plan? And I try to plan things like at least like a month ahead. So that way I know what I'm doing this next month, what are we promoting next month, and things like that. Because, I mean, if gold goes up and down, then that's just the way it is in this industry. But other than that, try to have like a grasp idea what exactly we're doing.
Do you have any like what are the goals for GoldZenn coming up that are concrete? Do you write your goals down or no?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
I gotta start doing that, man. I've talked to a lot of people that were like, bro, like I journal all day. I had a guy by the name of Nelson Rodriguez. He does a Montana Method podcast. I did a podcast with him last week, and he journals every day. Every day. I know. That's crazy. He has 2 journals. One journal, what he was telling me, one journal is his future truths or something like that. I believe I don't remember the verbiage he said, but it's basically what he wants to envision his life in the future. So as an example, like I want GoldZenn to have 4 stores. I want to have $1 million liquid in the bank. I want to have blah, 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 blah. And then his other journal is what he writes every single day when he gets home. Boom.
Okay.
He gets home, he's about to go to sleep, and he just writes like a page. This is what I did today. And this is what I've done, and this is what I learned. And like he has that every single day. And he's like, bro, it's changed my life. Nice. He went to prison and he started doing this. And like he learns, and then he can go back to any day of his life in 2 years and be able to see and know exactly what he did that day. So let's say something crazy happens to us. We forget about it, right? He journals it.
Nice.
And so when you go back home, you do it. So do you have something like that? Do you have a goal book? Or I don't have anything, bro. I just rough it. I'm out here raw dogging life, dog.
Why are you doing that, bro?
Because I'm an idiot. Because I'm unorganized. But to a certain extent, I am very organized. But when it comes to that, I don't do it. I just have, the way I do it is like, I know what I want. And because I guess it's goals, but I have them in my head, even though I should write them down because I can be very specific and I can be a lot more organized and bigger picture. But I get so obsessed with certain goals that I have to get. And that's all basically that I like maquinear in my head throughout the day. For instance, like the store, that's opening up. I already just signed that. I got a huge credit line. I got the contacts that we're gonna make on Friday. That's all part of the goal that I'm working on every single day. You know.
Okay.
But how do you do yours? For some people that, you know, maybe that works for me, but maybe it doesn't work for you. But I want to learn.
Yeah.
I want to learn from people who do it that way.
No, I mean, I've been writing my goals down for the past 3-4 years. And every single year they change. And every time I hit one, I just cross it out and go on to the next. But I do them on my computer. I actually put pictures and a little description about it. And then pictures, description about it. And then like I try to do it every day. Sometimes I wake up and it's like, let's go. We got to go to the store. We got shit to do. So, and I just try to read them. And even if I don't read them, like I see the binder on my kitchen or it's in my right next to my bed. And I just see it and I think about it. So even if I'm not reading it, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think of the next one.
Yeah.
And then after I knock that one out, it's like, what's the next one?
Yeah.
And that's it. So, but I mean, they're laid out at least for the next 4 or 5 years.
Do you have any times where GoldZenn wasn't necessarily doing so great, or you had something that that isn't what the standard of what you think a business is? Like I said, I think a lot of people see GoldZenn right now. They see you with your ads. They see all the inventory that you have in your shop or in your store, and they see like, you're not at the finish line by no stretch, right? But I don't think they see the ups and downs that happen to get where you were. Do you have a specific story that you could maybe share to other people that maybe are kind of going through a down?
I mean, there is problems every day, bro.
Yeah. But a good one that you could tell.
There is problems every day. I believe one time, but I was prepared for it. So, I mean, I saw it. I didn't see it coming, but I saw, and I was like, okay, if this happens, I could do this. One of our ad accounts was shut down. And when that happens, it's like, okay.
Why?
I don't know. It's freaking Facebook, bro. It's like, it's a monopoly. So Facebook, YouTube, it's all a monopoly. So they control everything. I don't know what happened. For some reason, the ad account was shut down, and we had all of our ads running there. And I was like, so for the next 48 hours, I'm just going on a ramp on front of my computer. Just, okay, move all of this. I have like 5 ad accounts.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we just got to move all of this. But that all takes time. And all your engagement, you lose all of that, all the comments, everything, all the interactions that the customer made from Facebook, Instagram, all of that. You lose all of that. So you start from scratch. And then you have to start feeding data to that pixel again. Just do a backup, man. Protect your downside.
Yeah.
For everybody. Protect your downside. Millionaires that became poor, they didn't protect their downside. Okay? So protect your downside.
What the hell does that mean, Julio? I have no idea what protected downside means.
Really?
Yeah, no, I've never heard it before.
Protect your downside, bro.
Like what,
It's
just protect in case, like have a backup in case shit goes wrong kind of thing?
Absolutely. But like, I mean, a backup to continue doing whatever you're doing. It's not a backup to, I don't know, I'm just going to go and do this. I mean, yeah, you could have those backups, but those are like that's it. Like that, there's no other choice than do that. Okay, then that.
Yeah, almost kind of have like a redundancy, almost like a pilot would have like a backup engine or a backup system that if this fails, you have another one that's running.
Absolutely. Think ahead of what are my blind sides, okay? My blind spots. What are my blind spots? That's it. That's all I could think of is like if I'm running a business, what are my blind spots? What are my weaknesses? What are my strengths?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, bro, for the most part, in any business that they do, when you run it, bro, there are so many people that have no idea what is happening, and that, for instance, for me, was part of like my whole trajectory into where I'm at right now. Right, I came into this world, especially in the jewelry world, not knowing what the hell I was doing. And the biggest thing, like, you and the guy that you started working with, obviously it didn't go as well as you thought it was going to be. And mine's didn't either. But I think what I learned about life and in business in general is I learned how to be a quote unquote like business owner leader with a mentality of just it, we're going to do it. Because I was the type of guy who would like, how they always say like, oh, cut once, measure twice. I would measure like 13 times and then not cut. That was me. I never had that mentality of like, okay, cool. Like I'm just going to do this. Right. And I learned it from my business partner from before. And I credit him for teaching me how to do that, to where just say, okay, cool. You just got to do it. You just got to grab it and you got to do it. And I think that that's the biggest lesson this jewelry industry has taught me. And it's because of that I am now like this confident person who can make decisions that are going to affect a lot of people and that ultimately are going to help the business grow. And you understand the risk to reward. What is something that you've learned doing this jewelry world that you didn't know before and that now you excel in? Because I think I do, at least in that. I don't know how good I am at it, but I mean, only time will tell. But you know what I mean? Like, what's something that you sucked at and now you're kicking ass at?
Oh, I didn't know anything.
Come on, you got to know something.
I didn't know anything. So I learned everything.
Yeah. What do you think you sucked at in the beginning? Like, obviously, other than not knowing.
I mean, I sucked at editing videos. Okay, I don't know how to edit videos. I sucked at Facebook ads. I had a grasp idea, but like at the beginning, I sucked until I started testing. And with the video editing, the same thing. It's like I sucked. And then as far as making pieces, like custom pieces of very like intricate details and things like that, it's like at the beginning, I was like, this doesn't look right. I always had a good eye, bro. I always had a good eye, and especially like, and that was created with the camera. So when I'm making like a custom piece and things like that, I'm looking at different details. And before, like I was like, okay, this is the piece, okay, done. Now it's like, no, like this is missing something. This is, I don't know, this. And then I just start looking at it like little bitty inches, and like, listen, and then
brother, that's the story of our
jewelers,
lives, right?
and then the jewelers be like, bro, nobody's gonna see. I'm like, listen, I see it, okay? That's what's important. Fix it, please. Like, get it done. Just let's get it done, okay?
Yeah.
Mario.
That's terrible. No.
He's been getting better though. From when we started actually working with him.
Oh yeah,
no, he's like way better. I'm like, bro.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that you just learn just being in it. You know what I mean? And then
ask questions, bro.
Yeah,
ask a lot of questions.
That's huge. And don't have the pride to think that you know everything, bro.
Hell no.
Because like there are a lot of shit that I didn't know that I had to learn the hard way by paying for it. Because again, it's like back to what we were talking about. People gatekeep. And if they can come up on you because you don't know and they could smell it. Yeah. Like now I see some like young kids coming around and they're starting their own thing or they're trying to ask questions. And I could just smell how green they are, bro. And I'm just like, damn, dog, is that what I looked like back in the day? I would come in there and be like, hey, can you please do a casting for me? What would you think would be the gold mix in this casting? You know what I mean? They're probably plugging 2-3 grams over that, keeping that shit, and then just doing the cut. You know what I mean? That's how it is. Yeah. That's how it is. You know what I'm saying? And I think that now doing it over and over and getting screwed and then realizing that a lot of people in downtown are full of shit. Let's be real. It just teaches you how to do things like how you're saying. Notice the small details. Before, I bet you they would give you that piece. This kid's not going to notice. And you probably didn't. But now you do. Now you know better. You know what I mean?
No, way better, bro. It's like those 2 years, those 2-3 years that I actually worked for someone taught me a lot. And I wanted, and it was, it was a smart move in the sense of like, okay, I can capitalize this money and then just dump it right back into my business. It's like, I don't know, if I'm making 5, 6, 10, 15 grand in a month, it's like, I'll dump it back into my business. This is going to be way more rewarding than me spending 15 hours a day into this business, even though I still spend 15 hours into this business because I needed this business to generate income and good income. Because if this business does good, I'm doing good. And I'm in business for myself. At the end of the day, you're in business for yourself. So that taught me a lot. And like dealing with the contacts that those people had, I was like, this doesn't look right. This is not a good quality. Let's make it better. Let's find somebody else. Okay. I used to grab my car and like, okay, look, I used to get pissed because I'm like, bro, like, how can you not see that this is shit, and you're selling shit. It's
yeah.
like, no, let's make it better for the customer and for your image in
For your
general.
reputation, yeah.
Exactly. And I'm like, you know, those freaking diamonds. Diamonds is a very touchy subject.
You gotta tiptoe like a ballerina, dog.
So
absolutely.
It's like, you see these diamond locks with eye diamonds.
Yeah,
okay. And the lock is this big and the chain is this big. I'm like, bro, please. And they're still making it. Like, how can you not see it, bro? There's something wrong there.
Julio, do you know how to bench jewel? Like, do you know how to set diamonds? Do you know how to make a chain?
I don't want to sit in a bench.
No, I know that. I don't either. The you think I'm out here like, my dream is to be a bench jeweler? No, bro. I paid my dues, but do you know how to bench jewel? Do you know how to solder? Do you know how to...
I could solder. Yeah.
Can you actually
I could solder. I was a welder, actually. Yeah, I could weld with anything, with aluminum, stick.
But do you know? Okay, do you know how to file chains? Do you know how to
file chains? What are you talking about, man?
All right, dog.
Really?
Oh, I'm sorry. No. I'm talking to the finisher of Cartier, dog. I'm sorry, dog.
No, not necessarily. But like, okay, who files a chain? Who could file
the
a
rookies?
chain?
The rookies do.
Anybody could file a chain. Exactly.
Not really. No.
I mean, there is a little bit more.
No.
Behind.
There's a lot more. You
Yeah.
can file a chain, and that's the difference. There are 100,000 people. So usually in a Cuban link world, trust me, I know, I do this shit all day long. I get the rookies to file chains. That's how you pay your dues. Because let's be serious.
That's hard work.
Papa, that's kick
hard
in the
work.
nuts. It's
Bro.
You got to pay your dues, though.
That's a workout.
If you want to graduate to that solder bench and be chilling, DK chilling, because it's not really chilling, you got to file chains for at least 6 months. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, that's what you do. Like, people hit me up all the time. Oh, I want to work for you. I'm like, no, you don't, bro. Trust me, you don't, dog. You don't want to get out of there working. Sometimes the AC breaks. Hay un calor de pinga. Like, it's horrendous in there. And the point is, you got to file a chain. But there's also an art to filing a chain.
Yeah,
and there's
absolutely. They're just like anything.
Yeah.
It's just like anything.
For sure.
I mean, you could have a camera and record a video, but like, there's an art to it, you know.
Yeah. What? So do you know how to like set diamonds? You know how to pave?
Nah.
you know how to finish pieces?
I
polish?
can't set diamonds,
You know
bro.
how to polish?
Anybody knows how to polish.
No, you see, here's no, bro. Polishing is that's the ultimate art. That if you know how to polish a piece, and I'm not talking about polishing on the buffing wheel. I'm talking about polish a piece. If they give you a ring, prepulirlo, like pre-polish it or whatever, polish it, and then finish it on the buffing wheel. Like, polish a piece.
I will say, if you're in like a third world country, then
oh my God! All right, get ready to cancel
you
us.
graduated.
Jesus Christ!
You graduated from being like an actual jeweler. Here, it's like you have so many machines that it's like, by the time the piece come out, it's like, let's go, bro. Well, I mean, it's not like that, but it's much easier. Like in the third world countries, you have to like actually be very creative.
One of my guys, he's always talking about how he did it in Nicaragua and whatever. And he tells me the craziest things that they would do, like buffing wheels that were like a bicycle. They would buy. Straight up, they would like bicycle with like a rope, and the thing would like spin, and they had to like bicycle buff the wheel. Crazy shit like that, like, you know, crazy.
They told me last week in Cuba, like, you used to like grab jeans and actually make like a polishing.
Oh yeah, a buffing wheel.
A buffing wheel. Yeah. So I'm like, bro, like really out of jeans. And then I saw your guy. One of you jewelers, I forgot his name.
What does he look like? Is he short and Nicaraguan? Because that's what they all look like.
I saw one of your guys like actually polishing one of my rings for freaking Rogel.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's my guy.
I know, and he actually grabbed a piece of jean and he started polishing the crap.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Like,
They're
wow.
so resourceful.
I know.
And look at us, we're over here complaining because I'm telling you that when I started this, I got behind that, and crazy enough, the guy who taught me about jewelry taught me in the most disgusting, crude way, but it was the best thing that could have ever happened. I won't mention his name. You know who he is. When I mention his name once the podcast is over, but he was the first employee I had. Like I said, we only had $60, bro. We would put in $30. He would put in $30. I put in $30. Papa, that's your salary. Esto es lo que hay. That's it. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
And there's no promise in the future that we're gonna make it. Like, $60. And he didn't have a job, so he was just like, all right, come on, let's do this, you know? So he would come over, and the first time I learned how to polish a chain, it was a kilo chain. And
those are a pain.
Oh, okay.
Those are a pain.
Those are the worst, bro. And we didn't even make it for him. We were just doing the plating for him. And so I learned how to plate before I knew how to do anything. And so I got there, and they were like, we're doing this plate job for this dude. And the dude was like, he wanted quality of like Bulgari. You know? He wanted like the
extreme.
And it's like, you didn't even buy the chain from us. And so the guy who was teaching me how to do jewelry didn't like to polish. He still doesn't like to polish. So he's like, I'm going to teach you how to polish so that you can do this. There is a guy in downtown by the name of Chicho. I don't know if you ever met him before. Chicho doesn't have fingers, bro. Chicho has like 5 soda cans for fingers. They look like stumps. He's been polishing for 30 years. You can't tell him shit. He smokes a cigarette right here that ashes the whole thing without it falling. It's just like one ash. And he just polishes with his fingers, bro. For people who don't know who polishing is, the minute you stick your hand in that goddamn buffing wheel, Papa, your fingers are getting hot.
I like to polish without gloves, too.
Okay, but you probably polish soft. This is a real polish.
I mean, he's been doing it for years.
This guy would polish with his hands, and he would say, anyone who puts gloves on doesn't know how to polish. And he said that to everybody knew that.
Okay.
So you would look at his hands and you would shake his hand and it was like shaking a tree trunk, bro. It was disgusting. It was like a cactus, dog. He barely had sensations on him. So the guy who was teaching me how to do it, he would go be like, bro, you have to polish this without gloves.
Good.
A kilo chain.
Good.
And I polished it on something that didn't have a vent. It didn't have a vacuum. We went to Harbor Freight and we bought a buffing wheel, but that was like a sander that you would have to put like a sander.
Okay.
You know, to smooth out like metal, like one of those. We took it out, we adapted a little thing there, and we put a buffing wheel on this. No suction, no nothing, bro. And that's how I learned how to do it on a thing. And he would tell you, you have no sensation on your nails. So if you put the link, the eslabón right there, you should hit it as hard as you can, and you shouldn't be able to feel it. You don't need gloves. And I buffed that thing horrendously. I destroyed the chain, by the way. Destroyed the chain. Because I was buffing it, like I was buffing the corners. No, I demolished the chain. Destroyed the chain. And my hands, there was no suction. There was all the powder. I was just eating it. My boogers were black.
I've seen those faces. All black.
My boogers were black for like a week. I had like a sore throat. It was disgusting. And I burned my nails so much that it turned black. And it was like, it fell off after like a month. It was disgusting. And every time I look at this guy, I always think of him. And I'm like, bro, because of you, because of the reputation that you had, I had to eat this kilo chain like a dumbass for a whole week. But that's how I learned, bro, because that's how you do it, dog.
Yeah, I mean, when I go into the workshop and there is like stuff that is not polished, like I'm behind the polishing guy, I'd be like, hey, like don't polish the fucking corners. Like you mess up the filing of the chain. Oh no, relax. I'm like, look, listen, don't relax. Like polish it right, like flat. Don't polish the freaking corners because you mess up the chain. And then one link is not gonna look like all the other ones.
Right.
You know, so you have to be very, very careful, like with those things.
Yeah.
But the polishing, like that thing will burn your freaking hands, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Imagine how this friction. How much friction is in there? You know, one time, like I was polishing a silver chain, and bro, like I usually polish. I mean, you have to put your finger behind the freaking chain. But like I was polishing without the finger, and then I was just like,
you thought you were Michael Jackson polishing, huh?
And then and then that thing went like,
it sucked it in,
bro. And you know what happened? I went to grab it, bro.
Why? That's rookie mistake number one.
It was just a reaction.
Yeah, it's your instinct to try to grab it.
Thanks God, nothing happened, and that chain went over the cloth, the polishing cloth.
Oh,
thanks God. And then it was just like,
yeah. I've seen people literally like break their arm. Rohit's son, he broke his finger. It thing whipped around. He would try to grab it. He grabbed onto it, and then it sucked him in. So he let it go, and the thing whiplashed and broke his finger immediately on the spot.
Fuck,
we had to take him to the hospital. It was crazy. But it was crazy.
It's a motor, bro.
Bro, it's
you can't
serious.
with a freaking motor.
And I'm not saying that jewelry is like you're doing tight roping. You know what I mean? It's not like you're hanging on the side of buildings cleaning glass. Let's be serious. It's not that dangerous. But if you slip
dangerous.
up, but if you slip up one time, something's gonna happen, dog.
What do you think all the fumes and all of that does to your body, bro? When you're actually burning freaking gold.
I'm probably gonna die of mesothelioma at 60 years old.
Why do you think I stopped welding? I stopped welding because it was just
It's horrendous.
It kills you, bro. It's like, I mean, you make a decent living, but like it kills you.
Yeah.
It's like you have so much chemical going inside your lungs. It's like worse than smoking.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
So,
Julio, I'll ask you one last question before we get the fudge out of here.
I want to ask you some personal questions.
All right, bro. I mean, here you got. We got 10 minutes, so just ask me whatever the hell you
We got
want.
10 more minutes? Okay.
Okay, what are you reading in your phone? What do you did you write these questions down? You loser.
I want to write my questions down, bro.
You wrote the questions down.
Let me ask you. I mean, since we both.
You actually wrote them down.
I wrote some questions down. I want to ask you. You want to ask me questions? I want to ask you questions. Why not? What is this?
I can't believe you actually wrote them down. All right, yeah, all right, cool. Let's get it. Reverse podcast.
Okay. Reverse.
Welcome to GoldZenn Julio podcast.
Gustavo, how was
Think
your
of saying my
upbringing?
whole full name. Gustavo.
What is it? Is it behind gates? Is it Gus now? You changed it?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, Gus. How was your upbringing? Where are you coming from and how was your upbringing?
My upbringing, like what's my nationality kind of thing?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Colombian Argentinian. For those people that think that I'm Cuban, Indian, Pakistani, some sort of Middle Eastern. Contrary to popular belief.
Okay.
I am none of that. My full name is not even Gus Villa. I Angloed it so that nobody calls me that. Well, the thing is, I made that so that it's so stupid. When I was a kid, my dad, who's a Colombian man, is obsessed with football. We just, that's why we watch. We watch Colombia, Argentina, all the things, and we would watch the World Cup and we would film the World Cup. And I always used to want to be a football player. Like, that's what I wanted to be. And by football, I mean soccer, you American idiots. It's called football. Anyway, the point is, I used to say, if I'm going to be a football player, how are they going to put my name in the back of the jersey? Okay. And how would, like, one of these English broadcasters say my name? There would be no way of saying it. So, like, I'd be like, there's no way they're going to say Villalobos is, striking the ball. Like, no, they would be like, Villalobos. They would chop the name up for sure. So I said I would always come up with a wider way of saying my last name. So my last name is actually not Villa. It's Villa, and it's Villalobos. Okay. It's Gustavo Villalobos. But of course, you tell that to someone who can barely pronounce, burrito. They're going to say, I can't pronounce that. So it's not catchy enough. So I made it like the Anglo version of it, which is Gus Villa. But I grew up here in Miami, in Hialeah. Grew up in the Leah, bro. Like, that's why I'm. And my mother is an Argentinian woman, and my dad is a Colombian man. So it was like the craziest dynamic of, one culture has the complete opposite. Like, there's some people that have like a Cuban dad and like a Puerto Rican mom, okay, which is still Caribbean. So like you could still kind of, there's similarities. I grew up in a household that one culture had nothing to do with the other one. I think Argentinians have nothing to do with anybody in the South America. You know what I mean? Other than maybe Uruguayos or something like that.
I think I heard they feel that they're like
no, it's because we're
Europeans.
better than them. Oh, okay. Oh, there.
no, for real. Like I think I heard. Like I saw it on a documentary.
It's because of that. Yeah, it's because of that. It's because back in like the '60s and even way earlier than that, they eradicated the indigenous people. They're, how like there's people that still resemble. Mayans and stuff like that in Peru and Mexico and stuff like that, and they look very indigenous. Yeah, Argentinians didn't do that. They eradicated all their like people that lived there and were there for hundreds and hundreds of years, and then the Europeans came over, and that's how it happened. So, but what I'm saying is the cultures don't match. Colombians are very warm, like almost not Caribbean people, but kind of like Cubans in the sense of like family and that things and. Argentinians are too, but in a completely separate way. So my upbringing was very interesting in the fact that like I had this whole Argentinian background. So like, and of course I don't look Argentinian at all, nor do I have the accent of an Argentinian person. You know, my mother does, but I don't, you know? And so...
You have a Cuban accent.
Yeah, well, I have a Cuban accent because I grew up here. You know what I mean? And your Colombian accent goes out the door in the
So you came here very
Yeah,
little,
yeah,
or
yeah.
what
yeah.
age?
2. Yeah, so
American.
basically, yeah. So when I come here, I grew up in Miami, bro, and all my friends were Cuban. Everything was Cuban. So as much as I identify being Colombian and Argentinian, there's a big part of me that has the identity of someone that grew up in Miami, and the people who grew up in Miami are typically Cuban. You know what I mean? So if you talk to me on the phone, and I'm ordering something from you, I sound like someone that grew up in Miami. That someone Cuban. I'm just smashing Cuban coffee right here before we started this podcast. You know, that's just how I do it. So that's. Yeah, that was my upbringing. It was a very interesting one because it was like 3 cultures that I had to be around. And I really don't even identify with any of them, to be honest with you. When people ask me, like, yeah, I'll be like, I'm Colombian Argentinian. But I identify more with the being Miami. And that doesn't necessarily have to be with being Cuban. Just I identify more with, like, I'm from Miami.
Okay.
I'm of Hispanic descent, but I am from Miami. Because that's really what my identity is. I'm a Miami boy, 100%.
Was your dad ever around?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. My parents have been married for 40 years.
Nice.
My dad always likes to remind my mother. Yeah, 40 years, I think, or 41 years or something like that. But yeah, they both live in Hialeah right now. I was just at their crib in the middle of the Leah. They ain't leaving anytime soon either, dog. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, absolutely. They were both around.
How old are you now?
I'm 35.
35. Okay.
How old are you now? Who are you? You're like 26, 27? You're a child, Papo. You're a child in this world, dog.
I'm trying to make it in
Tú eres
life.
un niño, dog. You're a little.
I'm trying to make it in life.
All right, hit me with the other question.
Other question. Let me see.
I cannot believe that you actually wrote these down. That's
Oh, tell me a
hilarious.
challenge that you faced, like in,
Oh
with Gus Villa. Tell me
my
that. Give me that.
Oh
Come
my!
on, like one of the
good-
strong one when you were like fuck, that shit is hitting the ceiling. It was like,
Okay, I'll tell you the one that I think I've told you this off camera. When I started this thing, I had no idea who was gonna buy anything from me. I had no idea.
okay,
No clue. So when I started this, like, I had all this business that I had quite literally molded for almost 3 years of just pounding social media with my face on it, with the branding that I had done, everything that belonged to the other company. It was everything that I had built. And that's not to say that the business partner at the time didn't help me in that too, but being realistic with it, it was about 90 to 10%. I was in charge fully of it. And then I left because I wanted to do my own thing. And when I wanted to do my own thing, I had 0 book of business. 0. I had a little bit of money left from when I sold the company, but there was 0 book of business.
sold the company.
Yeah, I sold my half to him.
Oh, you sold-
I
okay.
didn't even sell it to him. I just gave it away. I didn't sell it. I just said, I want to do my own thing. You are in charge now. I signed everything over. Boom, gone. And so
Okay.
when I started my own thing, I left and I did the first month, maybe $9,000 in revenue. I didn't have anybody. It was just
Yeah.
me. And I was trying to figure out how the hell I was going to do this.
So were you on your own?
On
Like,
my own,
completely?
yeah,
Like
1,000%.
No
1,000%.
employees.
There was no
nothing.
nothing. There was no
Okay.
nothing. And then I started moving over some equipment. I got a couple of people that said, yeah, okay, cool. We'll start helping you make chains. And it was a disaster, you know, because I don't consider myself a lot of good things in anything other than like maybe marketing, but how to make a fucking chain, a Cuban link chain, I see rarely maybe 4 or 5 people out there in the world that I've seen make as good a chain as I do. Just, it is what it is. Because I'm really meticulous on how I do it, the measurements that I've done, and I've perfected that over 3 years doing them. So how to make chains. And then I wanted to take it even to another level. So to teach these guys how I did it was a huge struggle because these aren't jewelers that I taught how to do them. These Roja has been doing jewelry for 25 years.
Yeah.
And here comes this new kid and it's just like, oh, you have to do it this way now. And they're still stuck to doing it their way.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, nah, this isn't how you're going to do it. And if you don't want to do it, then you leave. Because that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Here in this bullish industry, that's how it works. The point is, the first employee I got, he still works with me now, Jay. First guy that came aboard. And I was like, bro, like, this is how we're going to do it. And sometimes I didn't know how to pay him. I remember like the back of my hand, and April came around and 2 of my videos went viral. By viral, I mean they blew up more than anything I had. It was, I had an account of maybe 12,000 people.
Okay.
And most of them were my friends. And most of them were people that knew me from Go Fear Miami. So they came over, but they weren't still buying from me, you know? And they didn't I didn't have new customers. And I took out 3 videos. I had one guy who I had already done chains for, ordered a 2-kilo chain. And I made a video about that, and I broke that video down into like 3 videos. And 3 of those videos, or 2 of those videos, and then another one went viral all at the same time. So I went to sleep at 12,000 followers. I woke up and I was at 14. And every day for the next 30 days, I grew by 1,000 followers a day.
Wow.
A day. And it was crazy. Like, I went from doing maybe $16,000 to the first month I did $44,000. For someone who has their own business, it was like, you go from like here to there, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden you got a little money in your bank. And then the next month rolls around and you got $60,000. And then if you guys are hearing this and you did it, go yourself. I had 3 people from Canada hit me up about orders. And this one guy from Detroit, all at the same time. And at the time, I didn't know what chargebacks were to that extent. People who do fraud on chargebacks. And in a matter of 3 days, I got $68,000 worth of chargebacks in a day. Boom. I was negative in the account. I couldn't know how I was going to pay anybody. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. And I still had to keep pumping out orders because people had still put money or like gave me money to go bring out their order. So I can't now just call them and be like, hey, well, listen, something happened. Like, you're not getting your order.
Yeah.
People still got to get paid. You know, I didn't know what the I was going to do. I rarely ever get stressed out visibly to where you can know where it's happening. And that 48 hours, 72 hours, I was depressed. Yeah. I was like, oh, I did this. I went on my own. I started this whole shit. Like, maybe this wasn't for me. Maybe it wasn't. It would have been the 4th business that I started that I failed completely. And I was about to call it in. And I was like, for whatever reason, there's something that happens, kind of like what you were talking about earlier, where when you hit that rock bottom and something gets pushed back and now you're put into a corner that you just react. And it no longer becomes a planned thing. It no longer becomes scheduled. You just start doing. You just start doing shit. And I got a bridge loan because I knew that at the time I still had a little bit of credit left. I got a bridge loan from a shark company called, like, one of these companies that do, like, not like pay advances, but they're like bridge loans for companies. Okay. And they approved me for $50,000, but it was at like a 18% weekly APR. Gosh. So I had to pay an insane amount of money. So say, for instance, I borrowed the $50,000, I had to pay almost $5,000 in interest that week until I got that $50,000 back. So, but I had no other choice. I couldn't call the customers and tell them, hey, listen, something happened, I'll call you back. I was priding myself on making pieces for under 10 days at the time. And I still do under 14. But I couldn't call the people back. And I was just like, what? I can't tell all these people that I made them move from their shops to come work for me. We do all this shit. And now all of a sudden somebody hits me up for chargebacks, steal all this money. And now I'm out of business. And I couldn't do that. Yeah, you fight it, but it didn't matter because they were in Canada. And Canada, it's this whole thing that happens systematically. That's why anybody who buys a piece now, I have to either send it to their billing address that has to match, and my system tells me if it matches. And if they're in Canada, they have to send the wire. I don't give a what it is. They send the wire now, and you can't reverse a wire.
Because you have payments set up in your website, correct?
Of course, yeah.
Like you have PayPal, you have financing too.
Of course, yeah, I have everything.
Klarna and all of that.
Yeah.
What do you use, like a second?
Yeah, so it's this whole other system that I have that tells me it does like a fraud proof.
No fraud?
Yeah.
No fraud, yeah.
But before, I didn't know how to work it the way it was supposed to. So I sent these pieces to Canada. Their billing address didn't match. I did everything that I did wrong, and it's because I didn't know, And now I know. Now it's different. It hasn't happened since then. It happened to me one time and never again. Yeah. I took out this crazy loan, and then I started just absolutely relentlessly posting on Instagram. I would post 3 times a day, every single day. And then I got a couple of other videos that went viral as well, and it took me about 60 days to be able to pay that $50,000. At the end of the day, I borrowed $50,000 and I paid back almost $78,000.
Damn.
$28,000 in interest I paid on that.
Huge.
But I didn't have any other, I had no other way out. Yeah. And I was able to get out of that hole. And then because of that, I implemented all these new strategies that I do now to this day that still protect me. But it was a really, really rough time because no matter how hard you try, no matter how high you think you are, there's always going to be that valley that's going to suck ass. Yeah. And when it does suck ass, it's just how you react to it. That's really all it boils down to be. And in my particular case, I got lucky, bro. There are a lot of people like, oh, you're so skillful. Nah, bro, there's a lot of it that's luck. You know, it is skill and it is a lot of hard work and it isn't, but there's always that element that is like, man, it could have gone the other way and I could have probably
not luck.
It is.
It's
it is.
not.
You may not think it is, but there's certain people that if you work really hard, I'm not saying that it's luck, all of it. What I'm saying is that if you work 90% of the time and you bust your ass, you could still fail. It happens.
Oh, yeah,
now you'll
absolutely.
start something else and eventually you're going to get that luck again. But that's still that little element because some orders would come in that I had no idea that would just come in that were huge. And I would just rack in that money and get myself and climb myself out of debt. And some of them were just lucky. You know, some people were like, oh, I just stumbled upon this thing and boom, nigga, I called you or whatever. So that was a really hard one. But yes, you know, they're going to come and they're going to come for you and they're going to come for me. And there's going to be a million of them. But it's just how you kind of react to them.
They have come. They have come. And then we have to fight it. Because it's tough, man. It's like, why are you trying to take away from me 5-10 grand? It's like, bro, like I'm providing you with a service. I'm being fair.
Bro, don't try to reason with it. They don't care.
Exactly.
They're thieves,
I mean,
bro.
It's their hustle.
But a lot of people think that, you know, that the credit card companies pay for this. No, bro. Small businesses pay for chargebacks.
Yeah.
Like the businesses, they're not. I mean, they write off a lot of stuff, but for the most part, if they think that you didn't do the correct thing, which is like send to billing addresses, go through this whole thing, that chargeback is coming to you.
One or two things that you don't do right.
Boom,
that's
done.
It.
That's
like,
chargeback is coming to you. Yeah. So anyway, we're at an hour and 17 minutes, my boy. We got It's Time from the boy Creep.
Yes, sir.
Julio, I appreciate you chilling with me today. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate you teaching me so much shit that I will take home with me. And so this was a really cool hour, man. I appreciate you coming out.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me in.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys in the next one. Dale.
Let's go.